This is Edward October, host of OctoberPod on YouTube. Hear that jingle jingle? It could be Kris Kringle, or a home invader looking for an open window, a jilted lover looking for revenge, or a disgruntled coworker hoping to spike your eggnog with arsenic. The girls of our true crime podcast are always on Santa's nice list, but the crimes they discuss are very naughty indeed. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, Kim. Welcome to day number 9.
Nine.
I know.
Nine. What, 9 Lords Leaping? I think that's right.
Is it?
I think so.
Or is it 9 Ladies Dancing? Everything
it's 9
gets...
Lords Leaping, I think.
I don't know. Everything gets so murky once you pass 5. But
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are to 9. We are almost done with their sixth year doing this.
6th annual. I know. Can you believe it?
That's a lot.
It's crazy.
It's a lot. That is a lot.
Crazy. Well, everybody sit back, put the cookies in the oven, whatever you're doing, wrapping that gifts. I don't know. What are you doing?
Whatever. Maybe you're doing nothing. Maybe you're just watching TV.
Chilling out. Maybe you're trying to go to sleep. Either way, here we go.
Right.
Let's start it.
Here we go. Let me just say, and I know we have a listener discretion, but this is pretty graphic. And I don't dive into that too much, but just
Sonia. Yeah.
Child murder is what it is. So Here we go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
On the 9th day of our Nightmares Before Christmas, our journey takes us to Gandhilakar, Pune, India, where we encounter 21-year-old Renuka Kiran Shinde. She had just returned to her home, which she shared with her second husband and her son from her first marriage, as well as her mother, Anjanabai, and her younger sister, Seema Gavit. Now, Renuka was brimming with excitement as the family had long struggled financially and was searching for a way to obtain money quick. Now, Renuka believed that she had the perfect plan, albeit an extremely gruesome one, that would eventually earn the 3 women, the sisters, along with their mother, the infamous title of India's child killers. This is terrible.
There's 3 women that do this?
A mother and 2 daughters.
Oh, Lord.
And the son-in-law's involved too, but we'll get to that. So Mother Anjanabai had moved to Pune when she had met a truck driver. Now soon, of course, she found herself pregnant with a baby. And, well, the truck driver decided, I'm out of here. So he left her and the baby, who would turn out to be Renuka, in 1973, and this was right after she gave birth. The truck driver hightailed it out of there. Now, desperate to survive, the mother-daughter duo started pickpocketing to get money as well as stealing. Now, Anjanabai met another man named Mohan Gavit, whom she would marry, and this is where the sister Seema came into play and was born in 1975. Now, just like earlier, this union wouldn't last long either, mainly because Anjanabai would find herself constantly being questioned by police due to her stealing and often ending up in jail, serving small amounts of time. Yeah, that tends not to be too good on a marriage.
No.
So I hear.
Well, absence is supposed to make the heart grow fonder, but I don't think that's true if you're in prison.
Like that, yeah. So on her own now, Anjanabai got her daughters in on the action and often used the youngest daughter as bait for unsuspecting victims. Now, the girls, being so young, took to stealing right away, and they liked to target people who were attending temple. Their small hands made it easy to dive in an unknowing person's pocket. Often the trio would be picked up and brought into the police station, and the 3 were no strangers to police. I just can't imagine this kind of existence.
I can't either.
So
it's
one
stressful,
day,
don't you think? Be really stressful?
It's just a lot. One day, Renuka and her infant son, Ashish, got to work at a local temple, and little did she know things would not go quite as she had planned. She quietly approached a man from behind, slid her hand into his pocket, grabbing his wallet. As she turned to make her escape, the man screamed at her. She had just pulled out a wallet from a man's pocket and was about to walk away when the man screamed, "Puckaro, puckaro, sure, sure," which translates roughly into catch, catch, thief, thief. So, he was yelling that she had just
stolen, pickpocketed,
took his wallet.
Mm-hmm.
People swarmed in and gathered around Renuka and her son, screaming at her to give the money back as her son was crying. It was here she had an idea. She broke down in crocodile tears and screamed to the crowd, "How can a woman with a child commit a crime?" Well, it worked. People backed down and then turned on the innocent man for accusing the young mother of being a thief. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I hate people.
And so it was here where this evil plan was hatched. Once she arrived home, she told her mother and sister what had happened, and they decided right then and there that going forward, they would only hit the streets with a child. Now, these children would be the front for them to claim innocence. However, they did not want to use their own children. Instead, they would kidnap infants or children to use in their devious game. It was just a month later when the women went to Kolhapur State Transport bus stand to begin this truly unreal series of crimes. The three women would look throughout the travelers looking for a victim. It didn't take long as they noticed a woman holding a toddler. Now, Renuka approached the woman and started to chat her up. It was small talk and nothing that would frighten the mother. The baby's name was Sandush, and he was only 18 months old. Knowing that the mother is in near desperation to make some money for herself as well as her baby, Renuka tells her that she can get a job, but there's just a catch. It's located in Kurid, and, that's quite a ways away. But she added, "Oh, I'm sure that it's just too far for you to travel," and walked away. This, of course, was all on purpose. The woman ran after Renuka and said she would take it since it's only an hour and a half away. Renuka offers to travel with the young mother, and they boarded a bus headed for what this mother thought was a way to get some money. Renuka's mother and sister, the other part of the plan, they stayed behind. When they reached Kurid, Renuka gave the mother some money and told her to get them some food. By the time the mother returned with food, Renuka and Sandush were gone. Now the trio would meet back up and go to the temple to try to steal from people. It did not go as planned. Mahalakshmi Temple in Kolhapur is one of the holiest temples in India, and the women knew it would be crowded. As Seema was trying to steal a wallet, she was caught. When the crowd started yelling, "Thief!" the people began beating her. When Anjanabai tried to save her daughter from the angry crowd and failed, she did the unthinkable. She threw the toddler to the ground and then yelled at the crowd, stating, "See what you made me do," and then started to act as if she were crying. Immediately, the crowd stopped, and the three women made their way back to the bus stand. The baby was still crying, while his head had become red from the fall. While the two sisters sat nearby, eating a snack they had got for themselves, which this comes up a lot, they just, nothing seems to bother them.
They're cold-hearted.
And they eat.
Horrible.
Awful. So as the two sisters are eating, Anjanabai covered the baby's mouth and then repeatedly beat his head into the bus stand sign until there were no more cries coming from the baby. They then took his lifeless body and dumped him near a broken-down auto rickshaw. That's also about the most graphic I get, because they're terrible people, let me tell you.
Are these all babies that they are?
They're all babies. They're all infants.
Jesus.
Because they steal them when they can't tell, you're not mine. This was the first of many killings these women would commit over the next 6 years. Their MO was to kidnap a child or infant simply because they're too little to understand all that's going on, and they can't ask for help. They would keep the children as long as they worked for them, but then they would either kill or abandon them when they were no longer of use. In 1991, they set their sights on their next victim, a 9-month-old named Nareesh. The plan was just as before, make a conversation with the mother and then kidnap the baby. Nareesh was kept around for a couple of months. Now, since he was only 9 months old, Renuka breastfed him because, she had just recently had a baby, so she started breastfeeding Nareesh. Now, lucky for him, I think this is what actually saved that little guy's life. Because one day when he got sick, Mom Anjanabai informed the family that she's going to kill the baby, and Renuka begged her not to do so, And I think this is because she'd grown fond of the baby because, she nursed him and they had him for a while and she too had a son. So luckily, that little baby, thank goodness, was taken down to Renuka Temple and abandoned. Now, he was actually adopted by a couple and he grew up to live a normal life. And I bet he thanks his stars every day that
I would
he
think
did not.
so.
He was not a victim.
I'm relieved for him.
The women would stop the kidnapping until the money ran out. And when they needed money, they did it all over again. In 1993, they moved to Bombay to look for more victims. At Kalyan Station, 1-year-old Bunty was abducted, and then they all headed to Bombay to Victoria Terminus area. Now, just a few days later, the women abducted a 3-year-old little girl named Swati and a 2.5-year-old little boy named Gadu. The 3 children would be schooled into what their new job would be. They were to distract unsuspecting people so that the women could pickpocket more easily. Back at their home, the children, who would cry because, shockingly, that's what kids do, made the neighbors take note. Time was ticking for these sweet babies. Changing up where they would pickpocket, the trio ran into trouble, and just like before, Seema threw Bunty on the road like her mother, and like her mother had done with Santush. Bunty survived, but he ended up becoming septic from his injuries. Gadu became ill as well. This was something the women did not want to deal with. So when these babies would cry too much or get sick, and this happened again and again, they would just kill the babies.
Mm-hmm. Why? They're just props anyway.
It was
or
just
so their thinking is.
Oh, yeah, it's just a means to an end. We're going to use you to get money.
Right. We don't care about you at all. We're just going to don't make any problems for us or you'll be offed.
Now, just a month after being taken in May of 1993, both Gadu and Bunty were placed in a car. The car headed down to Kandala Ghat, and once there, the car slowed down. It was 11:30 p.m. Looking to make sure no one was around, the car came to a stop while the boys slept in the back seat. Renuka and Seema each began beating the babies until they were no longer breathing. Anjanabai threw Bunty into a field, and when Seema was about to do the same, her mother scolded her, saying, "You can't do that. We can't leave both boys here because that would be suspicious and call attention to us." They covered Gadu's body with a blanket and then drove on for a bit until they pulled over and left the baby on the side of the road.
Jesus.
The next victim was 2-year-old Anjali. When the father put her down and looked away just for a second, that was it. Little Anjali was never to be seen again. Police were called and a missing persons report was filed. Just like the others, she would be given a new fake name, and just like the others, when she outlived her purpose, they got rid of her. After suffocating the child, they put her into a bag and then sat at the kitchen table and enjoyed dinner. These people, I can't. At 1:30 in the morning, they then put the bag into some nearby shrubs. There was also little Raja's life that was cut tragically short at just 7 months old. And then there was Shreda's life, which was also extinguished at the tender age of 1 year and 9 months. Although the motive had always been to get money, that changed with a 9-year-old little girl named Kranti. Anjanabai was still mad at her ex-husband, Mohan, for leaving her and the daughters, so she was going to get back at him, and she had enlisted Seema to help. Seema would go and ask her dad, which is because he's the father of Seema, to meet her half-sister. And when Mohan said no, she turned on the waterworks, and he relented and agreed to let Kranti go with Seema. When Seema failed to bring Kranti back the next day, they contacted police, who learned that the 3 women had also disappeared alongside of Kranti. I mean, that's some evil stuff right there.
That's
well, all of it's evil. 3 months later, on December 5th, 1995, Anjanabai announced it was time to get rid of Kranti. So Anjanabai, Seema, Renuka, and Kiran, which was Renuka's husband, by the way, all told the little girl that they'd be taking her to the carnival, which of course delighted her. On the way to the carnival, they stopped at a sugarcane field and went into the field to taste the cane. Once they all were marching onto the field, the little girl was strangled by the daughters. Anjanabai had got her revenge at last, but this killer would not be satisfied for long. At the vegetable market, the women scoured the crowd for yet another victim. Bhavna was at the market with her grandmother, and when the two got lost in the crowd, the women moved in. She would stay with the family for 4 months and was renamed. In May 1996, Kiran, Anjanabai, and Seema checked into Pahlavi Lodge. When the little girl who had caught a cold started crying, it was time to kill her. The women decided to put her in a bag and then take her to the movies and dispose of her after the movies. They had her sitting next to them in the theater seats, that dead little baby, in a suitcase.
What?
Bag. Yes, that's what they did. They put her in a bag, and then they took her to the movies. After the movie, they disposed of her.
So they killed her, then put her in a suitcase, went to the movies, and then...
So after the movie was over, they disposed of her in an alleyway. And actually, right there, they almost got caught, but they got away.
Unreal.
The trio is once again on the prowl for yet another victim. And this time, they set their sights on a 3-year-old little boy named Pankaj. Seizing an opportunity as his mother was distracted, talking to someone, they swooped in and snatched the young child, causing him to let out a scream that resulted in a brutal slap to his face to silence him. I can't with these people. For the next month and a half, this innocent boy had to endure these individuals. Now, here is where I'm not even going to get into the torture and his eventual death, because honestly, it's too gruesome. It's too gross. It's just not, you can imagine, you can already tell how these people are evil and terrible. So there you go. Once the little boy succumbed to his injuries, they placed his lifeless body inside a jute sack and concealed it within a suitcase. When it was dark and late, they disposed of the body near a temple. On September 11th, 1996, Francis Adahave of Cuttred Police Station received a call reporting a suspicious bundle near the temple. Now, initially, there was some concern that it was a bomb, so he called in the bomb squad. Upon arrival at the scene, the officers had a hunch, or perhaps they recognized that a bomb would not take on that particular shape. They approached the bundle and discovered, to their horror, that it contained the lifeless body of little Pankaj. Unbeknownst to the killers, thank goodness, Seema had left her handkerchief behind. It was wrapped inside the bag. Now, this was just an oversight on their part. But, thankfully, this is the first substantial clue in this case. But that was not their only error, I tell you. Remember earlier I said that Anjanabai was not done with her revenge against her ex-husband? Remember? Well, it seems that Anjanabai had intentions to target yet another one of her ex's children. She's killing his children. Unbelievable, which is Seema's half-siblings, by the way. Her daughters, who had rarely resisted her and her plans, expressed their concern, and they thought it was actually going too far. However, Anjanabai remained resolute and refused to allow any opposition from her daughters. She had a plan, and they're going to follow it, whether they want to or not. On October 10th, 1996, Seema and Renuka went to the primary school where the ex-husband's other daughter attended. They claimed to be stepsisters of the young girl, who was named Devli, and stated that they needed to take her home due to an emergency concerning her other sister. Fortunately, the school staff refused to let the little girl go with them, thereby saving her life. The school, sensing something was amiss, registered a complaint at the police station. They were closing in, thank goodness. And finally, on October 20th, 1996, the mother of Kranti, now that was the ex-husband's daughter who she wanted to die because she was still mad at him from leaving her. The mother was at the vegetable market shopping, and she recognized the mother-daughter killing team. And she went into action. She attacked them and was asking them, what did you do with my daughter? Where's my daughter? When Renuka called her what translates to English as horror, and then added, you have ruined my mother's life, and so you will never get your daughter back.
Oh.
Kranti's mother immediately realized that something had happened to her baby, her daughter. She returned home, informed her husband, and together they went to the police station to file a report alleging that the 3 women had kidnapped their daughter, which obviously they did.
There's no alleging. There's the fact.
At 5:40 p.m., Renuka, Seema, and Kiran were apprehended. Now, initially, it seemed like a straightforward kidnapping case, but they didn't have to wait too long to discover the situation was far worse than anyone could have ever imagined. During the interrogation, Seema broke down and confessed to her involvement in Cranty's kidnapping, implicating their mother, Anjanabai, as the instigator. This confession prompted the police to investigate their apartment, where Anjanabai had managed to evade detection up until then. So thank goodness they get her too. A search of the apartment unveiled a large bag with wheels, at the bottom of which was dried blood, and this was the same bag that was used to transport Punkich's lifeless body. Remember I said they put him in a suitcase kind of thing? Moreover, the police found blood-stained clothing that belonged to Punkich. Now this is just creepy. It made my hair stand up. More unsettling in their findings was the vast amount of toddler clothing found throughout the apartment. And clearly this is unrelated to, they only have one son there, one baby, right? Additionally, there were photographs of birthday parties for Renuka's children. These pictures featured some toddlers and children who did not appear to be related to any of the family members. And there was various children at various points of time. Seema showed the police the wall where Punkich was killed, and that was in the apartment. Analysis of the dried blood from the bag and the plaster on the wall proved to be Punkich's. As police dove into the investigation, they found reports of dead infants and children and realized that all these cases were connected. Anjanabai, Renuka, Seema, and Kiran denied having a role in the deaths of the other children, but one of the suspects would break, and that was Renuka's husband, Kiran. Kiran would sing like a canary and tell them everything. Thank goodness. The four of them were charged with 14 counts of kidnapping and 9 counts of murder. Since Kiran cooperated, his charges were dropped, which I kind of disagree with, but okay. As the truth came out in court, people were livid. The two sisters blamed their mother, claiming she forced them to pickpocket and steal and then eventually kill. While the trial was taking place, Anjanabai would escape the punishment that awaited her here on Earth as she died in prison in 1998. On June 29, 2001, a Sessions Court convicted the sisters of kidnapping 13 children and killing 6. In August 2006, the Supreme Court confirmed the death sentence for the sisters. The special public prosecutor who advocated for their execution shared a chilling revelation. Quote, "We limited the period of killing to 6 years. However, this had been going on for longer than that. The women could not remember how many children they'd killed. It is estimated that the kidnappings might have been more than 40 in number, but we have no evidence to back that claim."
40?
40. They can't remember how many they killed, Jen.
I know. That's...
On August 13th, 2004, the sisters' mercy petition was denied. The siblings were on death row, incarcerated in Urawada Central Jail. Now, the proximity of the temple was just 10 kilometers from prison. And, it's not lost on me because that's where all of this started, was that temple, that first temple they went to. In January 2022, so just last year, the High Court commuted their death sentences to life in prison. Now, if the sisters' original sentences had been carried out, the sisters would have been the first women to be executed in India since 1955, and only the second overall. Ratan Bai Jean was the first and only woman ever executed in independent India, was hanged on the 3rd of January 1955 for killing 3 girls via poison. And that is the story of India's child killers. They have various monikers, but, no words. I don't know.
Have no idea how people can live without compassion, with just being so cold-hearted and not... They're children.
So
you know what I mean?
And Kiran had a baby, so they were parents. And obviously the mother had 2 daughters, so she's a parent. How can you do this to other people? I don't even...
Children,
I don't know.
Small, helpless, defenseless children.
And let me say, the way they killed these babies, infants, toddlers, very gruesome. I did not go into detail because for obvious reasons. But I really have to believe that it wasn't she, the mother, I think, was getting something out of it. Do you know what I'm saying? The control that she could have over her own daughters to do what she wants. But just, I don't know how to say this other than, if they're killing somebody because they're done with them, you just put them out of their misery. quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
A sick dog was put down a lot more humane than they did. And the way they chose to kill these children, it was torture. And it was not...
So they got off on the power
I think
trip
they did
and
something.
Being horrible and...
I don't know. Just awful. So that is day 9. And obviously, it's really day 40. We don't know because we don't know.
You did a great job on that. I'm very impressed with your names.
Thank
How
you.
well
I
you
tried
pronounce
really
names.
hard, Jen.
Yes.
I tried really hard. If I messed up, which I'm sure I did, it's okay. You know, I even, I was trying to find a student that could help me with pronunciation, and I couldn't do that either. So and there was a couple of names that didn't even come up in pronouncenames.com.
I know. Some of them are very difficult. You'll find one in my next episode that I couldn't find it pronounced anywhere. So you just have to do your best. And that's it. But great job. I mean, it's hard for 2 Midwest moms. We try our best.
Missouri accent,
exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was hard. So
well, anyway,
I hope I did the babies justice.
Yeah.
The other people, I could say their name wrong all day. I don't care.
Right.
Renuka.
Don't even
Seema.
need to.
Anyway.
Good
so that
job.
was day 9. Thanks.
Tomorrow's 10.
10.
Back to me.
We're almost done.
I know.
Couple days left and
I
we're
hope
all done.
everybody's getting everything done, and it's all done, actually. I hope all your
Done.
stress is
Done.
free. You know, you're stress free. Everything's done, and you're sitting back and relaxing, sipping on a cocktail.
I was just going to
under
say
the
my
twinkling lights of your Christmas tree.
little treat to myself every year is Bailey's. I love Bailey's on ice. And I only, because it's fattening and it's alcoholic, obviously. But every year at Christmas, I get like 1 bottle, and it's like my little treat, and I just love it so much. That's all. I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Good for you. Well, I hope you
I know.
enjoy your Baileys.
I don't have it yet, but
Yeah.
I usually buy it like about a week and a half out from Christmas. I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. I don't have any traditions like that, to be quite honest.
Just me in my head tradition. Just me.
Well,
just
but
mine.
But still.
Whatever.
Sounds
All right,
good.
Jen.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Back to you tomorrow.
All right.
Until then, remember, lock your doors.
Keep passing those open windows.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas. Love ya.
Today's episode was researched and written by me, Cam. For more information about this episode, as well as all the sources I used, please check out our show notes or the podcast website at ourtruecrimepodcast.com. Our True Crime Podcast is developed and created by hosts Jen and Cam. Original music and audio mix of all our True Crime Podcast episodes is courtesy of Nico Vertesi from We Talk of Dreams. Listener discretion is provided by Edward October from October Pod VHS. Our True Crime Podcast is executive produced by Nico Vertesi and Dick Vane. Make sure to like and subscribe to Our True Crime Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. We can be reached on Instagram and Facebook at Our True Crime Podcast or on Twitter at Our True Crime Pod. You can email us at ourtruecrimepodcast@gmail.com. If you really like the show, make sure to check out our Patreon at Our True Crime Podcast. Our True Crime Podcast is an OTC production.